City News, police arrested a man accused of groping a woman in Love Library.
And voter registration in Lincoln is at an all-time high.
And find out if you can take pictures in your polling booth.
All that and more coming up right now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight on Star City News. I'm Bailey Hurley.
And I'm Dwayne Taylor. Pete Ricketts held a press conference this morning in response to the dozens of opponents of the Dakota Access Pipeline who showed up to his office yesterday petitioning Nebraska's decision to send 11 Nebraska state troopers to help.
The question has to do with the fact that under the National Emergency Management Compact, North Dakota requested resources from other states to help them out with regard to the protests going on in the pipeline. And Nebraska was one of the states that helped contributed state patrol members up there. Other states contributed as well. And in fact, Nebraska has benefited from this in the past. For example, when we've had wildfires, we've requested other states send us resources. So it's a way that the states can share resources and again, ultimately be able to manage those in the best way possible.
And one woman got an unexpected visitor on her early morning visit to UNL's Love Library. Star City's Kennedy Stillwater is live and has more on our story.
Last Monday, a girl reported to the Lincoln Police Department a case of sexual assault by a homeless man. Now, the homeless man was welcome into the library because Love Library is public, but his behavior was not welcome.
I've always felt pretty safe.
For most people, the library has been a safe place to study for exams or do homework, but after October 26th, the library isn't a place to let your guard down anymore. 34-year-old Lawrence D. Dollison forced himself onto a UNL student at Love Library around 7:30 in the morning.
And this was actually in a very public area inside the first floor. So it's very open, very public space.
The student who was groped by Dollison reported to UNLPD that she was sitting in the northeast corner of the library when he approached her from behind, shirtless. Dollison first placed his hand on her shoulder and then grabbed her groin area. He then said he was sorry and forgot they were in the library.
Regardless of their affiliation with UNL or without it, is expect to behave appropriately.
I talked to women who are students at the university to see if they felt any differently about the library or even campus in general.
Because it's a public library, homeless people are allowed in, so maybe at certain times when it's less crowded, I would be more on my guard.
Shay Taylor is a senior as well. If she studies at the library, it's normally between 8 to 11 at night.
With the security guard pretty close, I've never really had issues with that.
After hearing about the student who was sexually assaulted, she felt a little different.
It's crazy now in the world, and you never know, they could look like a normal person, just kind of surprise you and come at you without even realizing it.
Logan Hyman is a freshman and told me she loves UNL, but is a little taken back.
The campus is so big, it's crazy, and I think that it isn't very safe if that's happening.
All the women I talked to felt the same. They always have their guard up and feel they need to protect themselves at all time. But the library was somewhere they didn't have to.
It makes me realize that that type of stuff can happen anywhere, even in a university where you feel safe.
Now, people like this man don't have any limits. So Lincoln Police Department wants to remind you that they're there for any reason. If you need help walking back to your car, they'll be there to escort you. Or if a light bulb needs changed on the street light, they can get someone to replace that. They just want you to feel safe on campus and in Lincoln. Back to you, Bailey and Dwayne.
Thanks, Kennedy. Lincoln authorities have released the name of a man whose body was found inside of his home after a house fire. Police identified the man as 57-year-old David Spinner. The body was found after Spinner's home caught on fire last Thursday morning. The cause of the fire is still being investigated. In Omaha, police have identified the body pulled from a lake last Friday as 48-year-old Brad Gladwell of Omaha. His body was found in Lake Zorinsky after someone saw it floating and called 911. Gladwell had been arrested in September in connection with an underage sex sting. The hearing for his case was scheduled for November 21st, and Omaha authorities say that his death is not considered suspicious.
And the Nebraska State Patrol arrested a woman trying to smuggle meth into the state penitentiary yesterday. Investigators received information that 29-year-old Neosha Porter would be trying to bring drugs in during a visit to her boyfriend. A drug dog indicated the presence of drugs, and Porter asked for a female officer and removed the bag of meth in her vaginal area. A further search of the vehicle revealed a digital scale and marijuana grinder. Porter was arrested on suspicion of possession with the intent to deliver a controlled substance and smuggling a controlled substance to a confined person. She's been released on a $10,000 bond. And a man who was run over after falling out of his vehicle has died. Alan Jurgens of Plymouth, Nebraska had been arguing with his wife when he fell out of his vehicle and was run over by another in South Beatrice. Officers are investigating the incident, and an autopsy will be performed later this week. And the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission voted to require 4 liquor stores in White Clay to complete more thorough applications for the reissuance of their liquor licenses. The unanimous decision comes after criticism of law enforcement, most recently from a Sheridan County commissioner.
Election day is right around the corner, and the Lancaster County Election Commissioner's Office has already received some pretty good news.
With more on the story, let's go live to Star City's Michael Dixon in the newsroom. Michael?
Thanks, Bailey. It seems like in presidential election years, the narrative is one of voter apathy. But this year in Lancaster County, that's anything but the case. These next few weeks will be the busiest period in a 4-year cycle for the Lancaster County Election Commissioner's Office. But the hard work is paying off. The office has also seen an all-time high in voter registration across Lancaster County, with online registering the primary reason why.
It's a very simple process, very easy process, and I think it's allowed people to, one, register to vote for the first time if they've never been registered, but also allowed people to update their voter registration and make sure they're registered at the correct address.
Prior to the October 21st deadline, online registering took voters just a few minutes, and even in a polarizing election year, officials still expect a natural increase in voter registration leading up to a presidential election.
I don't know that it's any different than other presidential years. You know, we always see an uptick in our number of registered voters prior to a presidential election. It's a natural happening.
Still, higher registration numbers can only mean good things for voter turnout in this election, and it's something election officials really appreciate seeing in the weeks leading up to Election Day on November 4th. Now, if you are unregistered and you've missed the October 21st deadline, you can still get registered at the office. That is at 601 North 46th Street. They'd be happy to help you out and get you squared away for the general election on November 4th. For Star City News, I'm Michael Dixon.
Thanks, Michael. And in case wearing an I voted sticker isn't enough for you on Election Day, good news. A new bill passed this year now makes it perfectly legal for voters to take a selfie in the ballot box. Nebraska is now one of 22 states that allows voters to strike a pose in the voting booth. And former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders will come to Nebraska sometime between now and Election Day to rally support for the party's nominee, Hillary Clinton. Nebraska is among 12 states he'll visit as part of a coast-to-coast campaign swing that begins today. The times and locations of his Nebraska visit have yet to be announced. And millennials are jumping off Clinton's bandwagon after the FBI announcement last Friday about the new emails found in the private server investigation. As the presidential election heads into its final stretch, Clinton's support among voters 18 to 34 dropped 6 points from 68% to 62%, while Trump's support edged up 1 point, which now puts the polls at Clinton with 45% and Trump at 46%. Which is the first time he's led since May.
An empty school bus crossed into oncoming traffic and slammed into a commuter bus in Baltimore this morning, killing at least 6 people. The school bus had no children on board at the time of the crash, but did injure at least 10 people on the commuter bus. The school bus first hit a car, then went off the road into a cemetery and struck a pillar before...
welcome back. I'm Monica Lopez, bringing you the latest in the world of social media. Give this man the Father of the Year award. Being 30,000 feet in the air didn't stop this father from bringing Halloween to his 3-year-old daughter. The man who requested to be anonymous brought candy on board and got all the passengers in on the festivities. To his daughter's delight, she was able to walk down the aisle as she trick-or-treated on All Hallows Eve. His amazing efforts caused for an "aww" all over the web. And rejoice, everyone, rejoice! Apple just made it easier for you to be lazy. Instead of typing the words facepalm or shrugging, you can just now send an emoji. With the new iOS emoji update, you can now send more emojis to satisfy your texting needs. New professions, animals, and 6 different skin tones are just a few add-ons to the November update. Apple also updated the appearance of the emoji, making them rounder and more 3D. Now, I don't know about you, but I definitely know some people I could send that drooling emoji to. And that's all I have for social media today. Back to you, Bailey and Dwayne.
Now, even some sweet tooths are hard to control. Hunter Jobbins found that out the hard way when he left his car unlocked for 15 minutes, and upon his arrival, he noticed a crazy note in the missing Kit Kat bar.
The note stated, "Saw your Kit Kat in your cup holder. I love Kit Kat, so I checked your door and it was unlocked. Did not take anything other than the Kit Kat. I'm sorry and hungry."
Now that's one strong sweet tooth. Jobbins shared his unfortunate story on his Twitter, but no worries, Kit Kat offered to send him a new bar.
I'm just excited that he got another Kit Kat.
Yeah, seriously.
But thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Bailey Hurley.
And I'm Dwayne Taylor.
Woman will be a major party's nominee.
Every single online poll.
Live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, Star City News presents Decision 2016.
Good evening and welcome to the special edition of Star City News. I'm Bailey Hurley.
And I'm Dwayne Taylor. It's election night and we'll be covering everything from presidential races to local races until the last numbers come in. Now, let's take a look at what races we'll be covering in Nebraska tonight.
First, we'll be covering Brad Ashford and Don Bacon in the congressional candidate in Nebraska. And then we go to District 29 in the legislative race with Kate Bowles against Melody Vaccaro.
And don't forget, there is also a vote for the death penalty, whether to retain or repeal. And we'll talk about that language just a little bit. Now, this election shows the most registered voters not only in Lancaster County, but also in the state, as well as having the first congressional district race as well with Jeff Fortenberry and Dan Wick in there.
Then we also go to District 25, the legislative race between Suzanne Geist and Jim Gordon. And then we also are going for the $369 million budget with Southeast Community College. Either you are for or against that bill.
And of course, the presidential race. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, the votes will be in tonight, and we'll keep you updated as the night goes on as to which states choose who. Now, this election does show the most registered voters not only in Lancaster County, but also statewide.
Star City's Michael Dixon has more on this record election year. Trump coming in at 54.13% and Clinton at 35.3%, which, although the polls aren't final, we are going to project that Donald Trump is the 2016 presidential winner.
Thank you so much for joining us on Star City News for our special edition election updates. We definitely want to thank all of our reporters, journalists, and associates, and especially the staff here at the College of Journalism and Mass Communications.
Our staff has worked really hard to bring you the best content tonight, and we thank you so much for sticking around with us the past 3 hours. It has been our pleasure. For Star City News, I'm Bailey Hurley.
And I'm Dwayne Taylor. Thanks for watching.
will be a major party's nominee.